movies, he's telling me in the first 10 minutes and then just stretching it out for a couple of hours, and I felt exactly the same thing about I'm Not There. He's making a very valid point that every Dylan fan will agree with. He doesn't do anything with it.
James, if Richard Gere was in silver hot pants dancing to a glitter ball, would you have preferred it? Yes or no? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
One of the films I'm really looking forward to, I'm not sure yet when it's released, is this forthcoming movie from Paul Thomas Anderson, who gave us Boogie Nights and Punch Drunk Love. Before we talk about that, let's hear a tune from Radiohead. Johnny Greenwood, of course, I think does the music to this film.
He does, yeah.
But this gives us an excuse to play some Radiohead. Radiohead. Jigsaw Falling Into Place, one of the tunes from the current Radiohead album, of course, In Rainbows, and Johnny Greenwood did the music to the film we'll be talking about after this small trail. Whenever Paul Thomas Anderson, director of Boogie Nights, has a new film out, I always hotly anticipate it. I always thought that it was a crime, an injustice, that Dynamite film Magnolia never got more awards, which was just an absolute stonker of a film. And he has a new movie out, which or is coming shortly. Is it released early next year?
Yeah, it's out 8th of February. It's called There Will Be Blood, and it's at the very least, even if you don't like it when you see it, I think you can appreciate what a great director he is, because he's taking a massive turn with this one. He's doing a real curveball. He's not giving you what you expect, which is what I always really like. This is a big epic movie, but it's really a showpiece for Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis, I think, is one of our greatest actors, and is, you know, the sort of the epitome of the method actor. Really gets into his roles. All these stories about him not even coming out of character in the whole months that he makes his films.
You say he's one of our greatest living actors. Have you ever seen me on TV knocking one off over a pen? Because I think you'll agree. I think you'll agree. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he's probably our second greatest living actor.
I got into character for that as well.
Did you? Yeah.
Months of preparation.
Yeah. I remember I was living with you at the time. Yeah. Now this starts off.
It was just a pencil with James's face on it.
Come on, calm down.
So this starts off at the turn of the century, and it's difficult to describe, because as soon as you describe There Will Be Blood, you can just hear the sound of people going, well, I'm not going to go and see that, it sounds really dull. Because it is about a guy who is an oil prospector in America, turn of the century, exactly, and he becomes obsessed with it. You know, he starts off quite low-key, but then builds up his business, builds up his empire, and it takes place over 20-30 years, and it's about his obsession for this, how really the oil becomes this kind of black gold that he just dreams of. It's about his greed, really. And specifically, the main thrust of the movie is about him in this one town in California trying to buy up a lot of the land so he can mine it for oil, and about his battle with this preacher character, the local preacher. And Daniel Day-Lewis plays a character called Daniel Plainview, and he wants, obviously, to make lots of money from this, and he wants the local economy to boost, whereas Paul Dano, who we last saw in Little Miss Sunshine, plays the local preacher, and he wants the church to benefit. So at the centre of it, you have a battle between a guy who wants to make money, a businessman, and the church, and it's these two facing off each other for about 2 or 3 hours, and they are just on fire together. I mean, just fantastic performances, and it really is a slow burner. So you start off really quite normal. This character Daniel, that Daniel Day-Lewis plays, seems quite sensible and just seems quite a fairly regular guy, and then as the movie goes on and he meets his nemesis in this preacher character, you start to see over the years him slowly start to lose it. So but by the end of the film, when we're in sort of the 1920s, he is completely and utterly losing his marbles, and this really gives Daniel Day-Lewis an opportunity right at the end of the film to completely let loose and to completely go nuts, and to watch him progress over this 2.5 hour period from someone who you utterly believe in, quite sensible, to completely losing his marbles because greed has got the better of him, is just breathtaking to watch.
Are we looking at Oscar glory? Is it an early tip?
We've got to look at Daniel Day-Lewis for at least a nomination. There's no way he can't at least get a nomination, because his performance is just spectacular.
Before you say that, have you heard Rufus doing his version of Bob Dylan? It's a shame. It was an absolute crime that he wasn't invited to be in the Bob Dylan biopic. Quick, give us a quick blast into the news.
I think if I've been asked to participate in the movie...
You're doing your Nelson Mandela. Do your Bob Dylan.
Oh, you promised you wouldn't do that.
Okay, go on, sorry.
If they shoehorn me in as old Bob Dylan on the radio, I would have made a very big difference to the movie as it was.
I don't know what that was.
I'm going to interrupt you now and take us through the 6 Music News.
Opening track from Richard Ashcroft's 2002 album Human Conditions. That's Check the Meaning on The Steve Show, BBC Six Music, with me, Stephen Richard, and my gang of cronies here. We've got Tiny Harry, we've got Dan who works in a bank, we've got Rufus from the North, and Super Posh Sammy. We want to quickly get the lowdown on you guys. How are you doing? Sammy, how's your week been?
It's been colossal. It's been all over the shop. Most of it spent in Dublin.
Really?
It was my 21st birthday, so I went out there and had some lovely times with some lovely parents.
Sure.
Mostly my own.
Sure, good.
I didn't have anyone else's parents for my 21st birthday. Had
Maybe
a nice
next year.
meal and drank some alcohol-free cider. So I finally found a drink I can have, so I look like I'm drinking. So that was
Oh,
nice.
that's sweet.
Doesn't exist here, like. Of course it doesn't. That would be too easy.
What happens to you if you drink alcohol?
My lips and mouth swell up, and then my throat starts to swell up, and my face goes purple.
That's got to be an idea for next week. We can start the show with that. Get the webcam going
It means I have to get an injection in my butt.
for the cover of the News of the World. You see, always thinking.
And I got some great presents for my birthday. My parents got me some absolutely stunning things, and someone very lovely got me an anchor, an actual
An anchor?
Yes,
Anchor.
I've always loved anchor designs and things on clothes and jewellery, but that's one step ahead of the game.
Have you got an
now.
anchor tattoo?
No, but I really want one. I'm minutes off getting one. I'm on the borderline.
Are you thinking of opening a pub? We'll be getting you some horse brasses next. Why do you need an anchor?
I thought you said horse bras, and I got really confused.
Some
I'm so
horse
sorry. I'm
bras.
very tired.
Horse bras, yeah, why
Imagine
not?
horse bras. That's a niche industry,
That's
surely.
that's an idea for Dragon's Den. Okay with that one. But you've had a good week. The birthday went well. You're now 21.
I'm now old. Do you know, it's really upsetting because my next big birthday is my 30th, and I feel like I should do something monumental before then, like children, and it's so soon. My heart rate's going up thinking about it.
So soon, what are you talking about? I'm almost dead in comparison to when your 30th will be.
I didn't want to say it, but yeah, it's a bit weird age, isn't it? It's the first time I've realised it, because every other birthday I've got excited because it's my birthday, and this time I was like, oh God, I'm old. Now I understand, how how awful my parents feel. Sorry about that.
If you can hear some rattling, it is Sammy's jewellery. She's not wearing handcuffs or anything, just to let you know.
They've let me out for the day.
Exactly.
Released to broadcast.
Rufus as well, we need to quickly get a lowdown on your week. How have you been?
Fine, Steve. I've got the gentleman's dilemma of moving into a new house and not knowing how to introduce myself to the neighbours. Or whether or not to introduce. I don't know what people do. I've lived in the same flat for 6 years and I'm not used to meeting new people, but I've moved into a little quiet residential street, and what I want to do is knock on their doors and say, hello, my name's Rufus, I just moved to the neighbourhood, very nice to meet you, but I get the feeling I'll get doors slammed in my face. What should I do?
Well, a number of options spring to mind. One is you could phone them up, don't say anything, just let it go quiet for a while, then maybe do your Dylan. Hey, it's Bob Dylan here. Just wanted to introduce you to my good friend Rufus.
That's
who lives
much
next
worse
door.
than my impression.
Or just pop a little gift through the letterbox. You know, whatever you think might be appropriate.
Like my fingers.
Your fingers, a horse bra, whatever you could.
Can't you
maybe
just ignore them? Most people just ignore the neighbours.
Well, that's the thing. I want to buck the trend. It's a very friendly street, and I just want to kind of maybe bake them a cake or begin a bottle of wine or
Kind of
something.
freak are you?
When
Ignore them like we do.
When I moved into my new flat, there was a huge storm 2 days after we moved in, and the previous owners had left some plant pots on the windowsills. We were on the first floor, and so my first meeting with the neighbours was to apologise for this flower pot falling through the back of their Audi windscreen. I had to go and give them 200 quid. Ooh, I was livid.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Well, you see, you've got to be careful, because I made the mistake of befriending a neighbour who invited me in for some Christmas sherry. Oh, can't shake him off now.
Oh no.
So you want to be very careful. And so, yeah, just be very wary of that, because you just, that's the problem. You offer the hand of friendship. Sometimes you've got a friend for life that you don't want. All right? All right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Good.
Steve.
Be
Yeah.
careful, mate. Be careful. Joe, why not just ring on the doorbell, and then as they open it, just give them a massive kiss?
On the lips.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I'd appreciate it.
If he's bald, on the forehead.
Yeah, exactly.
On the top
or just
there.
pat him on the forehead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
if he's bald. Hello. Okay, so we need to get a musical choice from you, Rufus, before we can move on.
Yes. I'm going to play a track by a Swedish band called The Tiny, in honour of Tiny Tiny Dan. They're a band I don't know very much about, but this is the title track from their 2004 album Close Enough, and it's called Closer.
A relaxing tune for a Sunday afternoon. Choice of Rufus here on the Steve Show, BBC Six Music. What was the name of the band and who was the song by? Who, what, eh?
It was the band called The Tiny. The song was called Closer, and you can get that on their website, which is thetiny.net.
Thank you very much indeed. And we have musical choices, obviously, every week from the people here in the studio. Also from you, the listeners. You can get in touch, go to the BBC website, and follow the links to Six Music, and then you will be able to recommend a tune, which is something that Lee did. Lee, you on the line?
Hi, Steve.
Hello, mate. All right, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from London.
Okay, good. I've got some information in front of me. I'm not going to lie. You know, it's all about transparency here at the BBC. It says, Lee, that you are 23 years old and you are a medical student.
I am indeed.
Excellent. It also says you have a couple of years left on your course and you're not sure what you're going to do when you leave. That seems strange. You're studying medicine.
Yes, I am.
You've got no idea what you're going to do.
Well, I suppose a doctor, if I do qualify.
It would make sense. That's the obvious
Yes, it
thing.
would.
You know, you could try something else. Maybe trying to design a horse bra. It's a little idea we're trying to flat out there. Not sure yet how it's going to work. I don't know if horses have problems with boob saggage. We don't know. Maybe you're not. Anyway, listen, I've got a bit of a chesty cough again. I had a problem a couple of weeks back. We had a doctor on there, and it's come back. I had some antibiotics, and now it's come back again. And I don't know what's going on. Can you offer any advice, or is it because you're a student you're not able to?
I'm a student, so I would say see your GP, I suppose.
Oh, so dull. I bet if we were in the union, you'd offer me something, wouldn't you? Under the counter. Well, maybe not. Lee, what tune have you recommended for? Incidentally, before we move on, just to test your just generally your cultural awareness and your taste, which of these four men do you find the most attractive? James May from Top Gear, Matthew Wright from The Right Stuff, Anton Dubek, or Stephen Merchant?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
It is tricky.
I guess since I'm on the show, Stephen Merchant.
Oh, interesting. You know, he's a doctor. He's got quite some taste. Well, let's see if that extends to your musical taste. What have you chosen for us, Lee?
It's the song by Noah and the Whale, which I found out through your show, actually.
Oh, that's exactly what I want to hear.
Which was, I think Johnny Flynn was on a couple of weeks ago.
That's right.
And he mentioned Noah and the Whale, so I looked them up, and this track stood out. I think it's called 5 Years' Time.
5 years' time. Let's hear it, Lee. We'll come back to you in 1 second.
Alright, thanks.
Noah and the Whale, 5 years' time, the choice of Lee, who's a medical student and is taking the time out to get in touch with us and recommend that tune. Lee, you still there?
Yes, I am indeed.
Thank you very much indeed. We enjoyed it enormously. It seems strange in a way. It's like we're giving something back to you and you're giving something back to us. You heard that band mentioned on our show. You know, you've sorted it out. It's wonderful. It's kind of come full circle. It's like the circle of life.
Yes, it has.
It's beautiful. As a medical student, have you or are you planning to do any kind of hilarious things to raise money? Maybe running around the streets with a hospital bed and some sexy nurses.
Well, I did in my first 2 years, I suppose, during WAG week.
What did you do?
What
did you do?
Oh, I just went on the tube, dressed up as a nurse.
As a nurse?
Change.
Absolute classic. Round of applause for that.
Textbook.
That is textbook. Well done, Lee. Appraisals before the end of the show, so thank you very much indeed for getting in touch.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you very much indeed. Oh, nice guy, Lee. And let's wish him well. Hopefully, once his medical training's finished, he will be able to offer me free medical advice, something I'm looking forward to having for the rest of my life. Okay, so we have fast. From 1985, She Sells Sanctuary, The Cult. It's the Steve Show, BBC Six Music. Who could have switched off the radio during that song? Surely no indie fan worth their salt who also has a soft spot for some 80s goth music. Welcome along to the show. It's a full house, almost. Tiny Dan, of course, not here. He slipped through the cracks once again on the way to Six Music. But we have Banker Harry there. We're giving up another Sunday. We've got Rufus, super posh.
Hello, Steve.
Oh, very nice, particularly posh. Thank you, appreciate that. And of course, Sammy from the north.
Hiya.
All right. Oh, hiya. Yeah, why not? Go for it. And you know, it's big news as well because you know, it's an added thrill. We got my parents here. Little round of applause for them. How about that? Keep your effing and blinding down to a minimum, please, Mum, because you're on the radio. And what a massive thrill for them. You can see the glamour. You can see the glamour that we have at Six Music. Is it